In the middle of a desert in Thailand, two hunters check the traps they've set around the site, hoping they'll catch something that could feed them. During the search, the hunter finds a buried sign, and when he analyzes it, he discovers that the place is a danger zone. But his partner ignores the warning and orders him to continue looking for the captured prey. After walking up to one of the traps, one of the men comes across a huge crater in the ground, and when he gets closer, he comes across his extremely terrified partner, who begs him to help him get out of there. Soon afterwards, the young man falls back into the hole, and believing that he will be the next victim, the man tries to escape, being chased by a giant creature. Although he manages to reach his motorcycle, the hunter can't shake the monster, which grabs him in midair and pulls him underground. Far away, Jenna and Cal perform another of their live shows, and after the big performance, they go to the bar so they can talk. Now that they're alone, the young man thanks his cousin for arranging another gig for him, and reveals that thanks to the problems and arguments he's had with his superior, who has only belittled him so far, he's about to leave his record label permanently. At that moment, a team of police officers burst in, interrupting the party and ordering everyone to stay put. The captain of the officers explains that due to several complaints about the possession of illegal substances there, they will have to carry out a search, going through each one of them. However, Cow doesn't listen to the authorities and decides to leave, but is stopped by the police, who order him to stay there until they can prove that nothing wrong is being done at the party. Thanks to the mess they've created, Cow ends up being arrested and imprisoned for a few days, and the news spreads quickly through the city, making everyone believe that the singer is nothing more than insane. Seizing the opportunity to protect the name of her company, the owner of the record label published several statements on social media, saying that all the young man did was accuse and offend her. For this reason, he was always prevented from performing his concerts, so as not to tarnish his wife's reputation. Back home, Cal watches the news with his cousin and is extremely confused, as they have never consumed any kind of illegal substance. Trying to find the reason for what happened, Jane remembers that all the kids drank last night was water, and Cal realizes that it was at that very moment that they consumed some kind of strange substance. Despite having found out why they were arrested during the party, the pair try to figure out who could have done it, and the young man claims that his producer must have set up that whole ambush so that she could end his career. Suddenly, Jenna receives a call from her mother, who reveals that her grandfather Wat has just perished. In the morning, the pair set off for northeastern Thailand so that they can attend the man's wake, and during the journey, Cow remembers all the memorable moments he had with the old man. At Wat's wake, the young man comes across Yo, who for many years was the old man's main assistant, and when he meets his idol, the young man can't help himself and asks to take a photo with him. While talking to his number one fan, Cow runs into his old friend Fawn, who scolds him, as this is the first time the singer has returned home since he left to pursue his career. Embarrassed, he replies that he performs several concerts a week, which is why he has never been able to find the time to visit his family. But the girl doesn't believe her friend, and tells him that even though he has left his hometown, he is still the same as he used to be. Sometime later, Cow goes to his aunt, who reveals that the old man left a present for the young man before he left. Yo then takes Jenna and her cousin to the garage, where he shows them the truck left by Wat, but the young man doesn't like his inheritance one bit, as the vehicle is falling apart. Meanwhile, in a cave deep in the desert, one of the hunters regains consciousness, and when he opens his eyes, he realizes that he is trapped in a mud cage, along with several other victims of the giant creature. Noticing that one of its prey has woken up, the monster crushes it with its paws, eliminating the man instantly. As a result of the blood splattered on his face, the other hunter wakes up to find a huge demon lizard devouring his partner, and as he screams in despair, he becomes the giant creature's next meal. While looking at all the memories and photographs he had of his grandfather, Cow watches one of Fawn's videos on his cell phone. The girl is an extremely famous YouTuber, and reveals to her fans that she has returned to her hometown, which she hasn't visited for some time. So, in order to help the region's residents, who are suffering more and more from the drought, Fawn says she's going to hold a contest, where the first drainage team that manages to find an underground water well will receive a prize of $1 million. As soon as they find out about the prize, Cow goes to Jenna and Yo, and together they repair the vehicle given to them by Wat, so that they can use it as a water drainage machine. When they arrive at the agreed location, the group is faced with dozens of other competitors, and they are apprehensive. With everything ready, Fawn and the mayor go to the stage of the event, and she begins to make her speech welcoming the competition. The problem is that the vibrations from the speakers end up alerting the creature, which was sleeping dozens of meters below the site. Unaware that they are provoking the colossal lizard below them, the competitors begin to prepare to set off in search of the water tunnels, at which point Mr. Me appears. Yo explains that the man is the head of the largest drainage industry in the country, and that he owns several state-of-the-art extraction machines, as he is the pioneer in this field. Despite believing that they won't stand a chance against the millionaire, the trio don't give up and join the other contestants. So Fawn starts the contest, and all the participants get into their cars and set off towards the excavation site, along with the demonic lizard, which is running madly through the desert tunnels. Quickly, a trio of diggers split up to search for water springs on the site, and after finding an abandoned motorcycle, the assistants decide to leave their boss, so they can sell the vehicle and return to the city. At that moment, the pair notice something chasing them underground, and they accelerate at full speed to try and outrun the monster. After using the vehicle's turbo mode, the men manage to get away from the creature, but what they don't realize is that the giant lizard has set a trap right in front of them. For this reason, they end up falling into the hole, which is instantly plugged by the desert monster. A few kilometers away, Cow continues his search for a spring, and remembering his grandfather's teachings, he uses his dowsing equipment. A few meters further on, the group comes across several plates scattered on the ground with bizarre writing on them. The young man explains that this is a technique used to detect moisture in the soil, and begins to analyze the objects. Suddenly, two other competitors appear on the scene, ordering the young people to move away from their property. The men explain that the writings are made to scare away evil spirits, and suggest that the trio stay away from these places, especially the mountains. At the end of the afternoon, Cow asks Yo to stop digging for the time being so that they can rest and return to work the next day. Before leaving, the young man goes to his truck, where he finds a piece of paper left by his grandfather. At the same time, Yo approaches and reveals that this is the map of the underground water channels in the region, which Watt created during his many years of research. With that, the trio picks up a conventional map, and after comparing the locations of each tunnel, they realize that the largest water reserve is located in the mountains. While most of the competitors return home, a group of explorers decide to camp out in the desert so that they can continue digging as soon as dawn breaks. At that moment, one of the men moves away from the fire, and during his walk, he comes across something in the sky coming towards him. Before he could react, a giant flying lizard swooped down on the man, who had his head removed instantly. Immediately afterwards, the man's head lands right in front of his partners, who despair and run to the vehicle while the creature tries to capture them by opening a large hole in the ground. They quickly manage to get to the truck, but the problem is that the hooded lizard won't give up on them and goes through the car's bodywork with its sharp tail. When they realize that they don't have the keys to the vehicle, the explorers run around the place, and when they come across their partner's body on the ground, the competitor tries to search it and manages to find the key. Now that they have a chance to escape, the man runs back to the truck, but just as he is about to leave, he realizes that his friend has survived the ambush and orders him to get into the car. The problem is that the young man is completely paralyzed, and on approaching the man, the explorer discovers that his partner was being used as bait to lure him. Realizing that its prey is vulnerable, the colossal lizard appears and feasts on the diggers. In the morning, Fawn and the mayor talk to the police, who only reveal that they have found the missing men's vehicle. Confused, the woman asks what might have happened to the explorers, and the mayor says that recently there have been several disappearances in the desert region, and the population has started to create various urban legends that the spirits of Mother Nature swallow up the people who wander there. However, the man says that all these stories are just superstitions, and that the competitors were probably captured by criminals. So Fawn suggests that they cancel the competition to prevent more people from getting hurt. As soon as they think of it, the man receives a call from Mr. Me, who, upon learning of the sudden decision, orders the contest activities to continue. Otherwise the mayor will have serious problems in his town. After the phone call, the man reveals that he is planning to use various explosives to find the tunnels, and orders his assistants to store them in his vehicle. Realizing that they can't stop the tournament, the mayor encourages Fawn to continue with the activities, saying that all those theories are just superstitious nonsense. Far from there, Cow and his companions follow the path traced on Watt's map and arrive at the entrance to a large cave. As they enter the site, they begin to search the underground tunnels, and Jenna notices that one of the walls of the cave is covered in moss, which means that there is a water source on the other side. Excited to have found what they were looking for, the youngsters start celebrating, and Yo decides to record the moment when they are about to win the competition. However, when he opens his camera, the young man realizes that something is moving behind them, and he moves away from the group to investigate the scene. When she notices the young man's strange behavior, Jenna questions him, and Yo reveals that he saw something spying on the team, but when he finds nothing else, he tells her that he may be hallucinating. Suddenly, the young man is devoured by a giant monster, which captures him with a single bite. Terrified, Jenna and Cal point their flashlights in the direction of the creature, and when they come across the colossal lizard devouring Yo, they flee the scene. On the surface, Mr. Me's employees begin to prepare the explosives, when Fawn appears and asks if this strategy is even allowed in the excavation business. Unconcerned, the boss reveals that he needs those devices to destroy rocks and arid soil that are in the way, and says that he doesn't care about the risks that this technique could bring to people. Just then, Cal and Jenna reach the contest coordinators and warn everyone about the presence of the monstrous lizard. Despite the young people's panic, none of them believe what they are hearing, and during all the confusion, one of Me's security guards is grabbed by the creature, which pulls him underground. Immediately afterwards, the monster attacks the other survivors, who climb into the truck to protect themselves from the attack, but the mutant lizard doesn't give up and attacks the vehicle. While another of the security guards is being devoured, Fawn ends up falling off the platform, dazed. To save the group, Jenna rushes to the driver's seat, leaving the mayor locked out, but before she can start the engine, Mr. Me stops her and orders her to remain silent. With nowhere to run, the mayor is devoured by the creature, and Cow takes advantage of the distraction to rescue Fawn. Furious, the giant lizard rushes up to the pair, who throw themselves into the hole to avoid being eliminated, thus losing the monster. Trying to prevent her friends from being caught, Jenna uses the horn to draw the attention of the creature, which gets closer and closer to the vehicle. After a while, the mutant animal gives up looking for survivors, and as he hasn't found any more of his prey, he decides to take a nap on top of the truck. In the giant hole, Cow and Fawn try to find a way out of the cave, and after a few minutes wandering around the creature's lair, they come to a place full of lizard eggs. During their investigation, the youngsters come across all the people who have been captured by the monster, and conclude that the bodies are being preserved to feed the offspring, which could be born at any moment. So the pair head into the cave in search of a way out so that they can contact the authorities and get all the survivors out of the monster's cave. On the surface of the desert, Jenna suggests to Mr. Me that they try to get to the minivan, so that they can escape. Very carefully, the girl takes a photo of the giant lizard, and after making sure it is still unconscious, they quietly leave the truck. Sneakily, Jenna manages to get to the vehicle, but when she touches the door, she sets off the alarm. In order to stop the monster from waking up, Nee stops moving and uses his keys to unlock the car, ending the noise. The young woman finally gets into the van, but as soon as she starts it, the lizard wakes up. Quickly, the mutant creature lunges at Me, and after capturing him with its mouth, it takes him into the cave, where it expels its macabre liquid that solidifies around the man. While looking for a way out, Fawn and Cow hear the mutant lizard approaching and decide to run towards the exit of the cave. As soon as they reach the surface, the survivors find a group of explorers dancing around their van, and they try to warn them about the giant creature. Even so, the men don't believe the pair's reports, but when they notice the colossal lizard emerging from the mountains, they grab their weapons and decide to confront the monster. The problem is that the creature has extremely resistant skin and is not stunned by the shots, allowing it to make a swoop that splits the body of one of the men in half and throws Cow to the ground. In a few seconds, the lizard attacks the remaining explorers and manages to destroy and devour one of them with ease. Soon after, the monstrous reptile approaches Fawn, and before he can do anything to rescue her, Cow sees his friend being swallowed by the animal, which goes underground once again. Furious at what he has just witnessed, the young man tries to chase the creature, but is stopped by the other survivors. The men suggest he use the flares, so they can call for help before entering the monster's lair again. After a few minutes, the other competitors arrive at the site of the attack, and after reuniting with her cousin, Jenna shows them the photo she took of the creature a few seconds before it fled, leaving the explorers extremely frightened. Trying to encourage them, Cow says that they must rescue as many innocent people as possible, because they can't just leave that place and abandon the dozens of lives that are trapped in the monster's nest. Now that it has Fawn trapped in its lair, the colossal lizard goes to Yo, and after using its tongue to wake the young man up, it prepares to devour him, but as soon as it hears more noises coming from the surface, it rushes off, sparing the young man's life. Around the large crater created by the monster, the survivors prepare a trap so that they can capture it as soon as it passes through the opening, thus allowing the other explorers to run to the nest and save the humans who have been captured by the lizard. Suddenly, the creature finally appears at the ambush site, and Cow accelerates the truck at full speed, causing the ropes to catch on the mutant animal's neck. With the enemy trapped, the other competitors use their vehicles to attack the giant lizard, but at that moment, it manages to free itself and prevents most of the men's blows. Even so, Cow manages to hit the body of the creature, which becomes enraged and strikes the young man's vehicle, throwing the truck away. Taking advantage of the distraction the young man has managed to create, one of the diggers throws a flammable bottle at his target, setting the animal ablaze and causing it to retreat underground once again. In the creature's nest, Jenna and the rest of the men use their tools to free the victims who are still alive, and after completing the rescue, they set off together towards the exit, with the exception of me, who runs in the opposite direction to the group. In the middle of the desert, all the survivors meet up, but just as they are about to blow up all the creatures' tunnels and complete their plan, Jenna and Carol realize that Fawn has been left behind. They conclude that the girl may have followed Mr. Me so that she could help him escape, and thanks to this, the contestants realize that they can't set off the explosives while the pair are underground. With that, Cow decides that there is no other way to defeat the creature, so he grabs the detonator and goes after Fawn, ordering everyone to get away from the place as quickly as possible. In the tunnels, the influencer continues her search for Mr. Me, and after finding him, they come across the mutant lizard, which makes the man run away, abandoning the girl, who comes face to face with the monster. With nowhere to run, Fawn runs desperately around the place, while being chased by the creature. Just as he is about to eliminate the young woman, the lizard receives an attack from Cow, who strikes his pickaxe into the giant reptile's head, leaving it completely stunned. During a furious battle between her friend and the creature, Fawn tries to crawl away from the fight, but at that moment, the young man is thrown away and ends up landing on top of the girl. Noticing that the monster has become disoriented after the attacks it has received, the youngsters try to get up as quickly as possible, and Cow takes the opportunity to strike it once more, causing the lizard to retreat. While they were trying to hide, Fawn ended up being captured by the creature's tail, which began to lift her into the air, and with his flare gun, Cow shot the mutant animal, who was stunned, and let go of his prey, allowing them to continue their escape. So that they can get to the exit safely, the young man uses his cell phone as a distraction, placing it on one of the skeletons in the cave, confusing the monster, which attacks the bait believing it to be its prey. Now that they are about to escape, Cow takes advantage of the fact that they are far from the cave and sets off the explosives, causing the tunnels to be filled with water. Believing that they are safe, the young people stop running to recover their energy, but at that moment, the mutant lizard appears in the middle of the tunnels and captures the singer with one of its claws. Trying to prevent her partner from being devoured, Fawn holds the young man with all her strength, and just as he was about to bring down his prey, the creature is hit by the water, causing it to overbalance and be carried into the depths of the cave. When they reach the surface, Cow and Fawn meet Jenna, who is extremely happy to hear that her companions are okay. Thanks to the large amount of water present in the tunnels, the ground ends up breaking up, creating several natural springs that begin to water the entire desert. Realizing that they were the first to complete the competition, the youngsters feel very happy and celebrate their victory while dancing in the rain. On the other side of the desert, Mr. Me manages to reach the top of the crater and is extremely excited, as he has managed to collect one of the mutant lizard's eggs and will be able to use it to get large amounts of money. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below.